Hello my loves, welcome back to my art channel. My name is Tamsin, I'm the artist behind aianaiyaillustration Illustrations. Here are some of my artworks. Today I'm going to be showing you how I do my entire line work process. Okay, so we're going to be line working this piece right here. So I'm going to start off with my line work brush, and at the moment I am really enjoying using the Max Use Sable Inca Clean brush. One of my favourite artists also uses this brush, and I've had it for a while, and I remember when I first got it and I first trialed it out and everything, I just didn't really get on with it. But lately I am finding it's actually working really well. Before that I was using my own inking brushes, so I use my cream liner. I also have a bunch of other packs. I used to use the grainy sketcher, and the smooth textured Inca used to be my favourite. That's why it's got the little sparkle emoji. It used to be my favourite for quite a while. When you're line working, it's best to try as many different brushes as you can as you're going along with your digital art journey, just to kind of find what works for you, because at the moment the Sable Inca Clean brush that I'm using is just works so well for me. Like, even if I'm having an off day, it just seems to still come out looking nice. So the first thing you want to do after you've set your brush is you want to pick the colour that you're going to have the line work. Now you're going to change this a little bit as you go along. You might want to colour in the lines at the end of your drawing, but for now I am just going to use a colour that kind of like fits with the scheme that I've got going on. So this is a very rough colour draft that I've done for it, and I'm probably going to go for a darker version of the skin tone. So I make a layer above my sketching layer, I bring the opacity down, and I'm probably going to go for this kind of colour for now. Now you're going to zoom in, and we're going to make sure we select the right brush, and I like to start with the eyes, and I tend to set this brush to about there. It depends really, that might be too thin for this one, which I think it is a little. So I tend to start off really soft at first, and then I kind of press down in the middle a bit with the eyes. So I want the outer corners to be like pretty soft and tapered and kind of like fading off, and then I want the eyeliner to be pretty sharp and thick at the edges. So usually I would start with the right eye. I'm having a bit of a struggle, so getting it to look right. So we're starting with this eye, and I don't know if I'm just having like an off day or something, but my line work is seeming a little bit more shaky than normal. For the actual iris, I don't tend to vary the weight of the pen too much. I try and keep it pretty consistent. And then for the lashes, I start off really soft and then press in a bit more as they get to their kind of like root. And then now I'm just going to make the kind of like the inside of the eye a bit darker. And I'm adding this crease pretty softly. I want it not to be too dark. There you go, I'm happy with that now. So I'm probably going to move it over a little because I feel like it should be more there. And for now I'm just going to do her lashes, just because I'm not really sure where I'm going to have the eyeliner yet, where it's going to sit. Because this is not a forward-facing face, the eyes are obviously going to look a little bit different because they are being seen from different angles rather than straight on. And then I'm going to use Liquify again, because it's a lifesaver sometimes, and bring down that part of the eye. And then I'm just going to darken the inside line work again. And now I'm going to put in the iris. I don't always like try and be too careful with how I shape the iris to begin with, because I'm going to go in and change the shape around anyway. Then we're going to add in the crease again, and it's just going to be really soft. And then what I'm going to do now is lower the opacity of the sketch layer, because I feel like the eyes don't look perfect. And then I'm going to flip it over and we're going to see what's wrong here. Okay, a few issues, right. So we've got the eyeliner coming out. We're kind of like missing. And then it feels like the eye needs to be lifted a bit. And I'm going to try and move this eye a little bit. I wonder if that's giving us a bit of a problem, and also make her eyeliner a bit thicker, because it does seem like the other eye has thicker liner. Okay, we're going to try this for now. For the nose, I lined the bridge very softly, and then as I get lower I start to increase pressure a bit more, until I get to the tip of the nose where it kind of has the most pressure, and the nostrils. Just going to play around with the eyes again. You can see this is probably going to be slightly off, so I'm going to bring it to about there and see if this works. I'm going to try and ignore the nose for a minute, because I like the lips to be pretty like pouty, so I can move it around once I'm done. There we go, I think. I'm just going to put it to about there. And now I'm going to do the outer line work. I'm going to start at the eyebrow sort of area, and I try and keep this as uniform as possible, but again, I'm not too precious about how much I press down. I feel like pressing down, having like different pressures can actually make it look really good. Just kind of going, following the line, not being too careful, I guess. And I tend to kind of ignore the clothing area for a bit. Just kind of focus on any kind of body that needs line working. For the hands, again, my lining is just very like loose. I'm pressing down, and then I'm like lightening the pressure quite a lot. Just kind of like a more relaxed type of lining, if that makes sense. I'm trying not to be too stressed out about it, and just kind of like lose myself in the process. Then we're just gonna join this up, and then we've almost finished the body. So I'm just going to finish the arms here. And I just kind of play around with it as well, especially if I'm having an off day. And we're gonna maybe leave this arm like this, because I'm gonna bring in the clothes, I think. I've just realised that I completely forgot her eyebrows. So we're gonna go and do her eyebrows. So essentially it's the same kind of practice as the eyeliner or the lashes. You kind of want to start off at the edges really soft, and then you can kind of become a bit more of a natural pressure, I guess, for the middle. And just kind of, for the eyebrows, I just kind of fill in this area a bit more. And I will bring in some hair strands and kind of follow the shape of the eyebrow. And I just kind of do like this rough kind of like fill in to begin with, and then I'll go in and I'll make my pressure a bit softer, and I won't be so precise with the tip of the pen either. I'm just kind of like softening and blending the strands of hair, and then I add 2 little hairs, and I actually start off pretty thick for these hairs and then taper them off softly the edges, and I try and follow the shape of the eyebrow again. And then sometimes I tend to make the eyebrows a little bit too big. So I will either freeform them or uniform them and just kind of put them where I think they should be. Maybe about there. And for her eyebrows here, I'm just gonna kind of move them a little because I'm not too happy with the position. I think they should be more like that. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to the skin and just kind of smooth out some of these edges that I messed up a little. And then now what I want to do is I want to work on the clothing. So I'm gonna actually up the opacity of the sketch because I might not be able to see. I can see better like that. So with this kind of stuff, when you want to draw the clothes or you want to draw an accessory or something like that, what I like to do is the outside line is pretty thick, and then any kind of like details, for instance when I'm going like further in like this, I make it a bit more of a thinner line, and then if I want to add any like seams or anything, they're gonna be thinner lines as well. And over here I feel like this will have a bit of a line there, and you just kind of like carry that on. And for like this kind of like the outside of the trim, I'm still keeping the lines pretty thin because it's just mainly the full outside of the fabric that I want to make a bit thicker and prominent. Now we're going to have this to be a pretty thin line because this is the sleeve, like the puff of the sleeve, and then I'm going to have the actual bodice here, so that's going to be a bit thicker. And that's just kind of how I keep going with it, is that the outside lines are always going to be thicker and the inside lines thinner. And then I'm going to bring the opacity layer down of the sketch, and I'm going to go back into the body layer and kind of erase all these areas, not all of the areas, but all the areas that are going to be underneath the clothing and hidden. And then now comes like one of my favoritist parts ever, and that's the hair. So I'm going to start with this part because it looks really nice. I really like to do these kind of curls, and you kind of taper the ends of the hair and you bring it back in, make a little gap in the hair as well. And just make it like super cute and curly like that. I really like the look of that. Alright, and then I'm gonna bring this up, and again the inside lines you want to focus on making a little bit thinner and the outside lines a bit thicker. And then I'm gonna kind of like curl it up here, which I'm pretty happy about because I want to hide the clothing a little bit. So that is also a handy tip. If you don't like how something looks and you want to make it look a little bit more, I don't know, aesthetic, then hide it with some hair. Usually I wouldn't be the one to be like hide it, I would just be like no, draw it, like get better at it. But it's not that the clothing is bad, bad, I just don't really like how it's come out looking, so and there we go. And add little stars. Gonna make some parts thicker than others to kind of give it more of a 3D effect. I don't know if it works, but it's kind of the thought process right now. Now I've done that, I'm gonna go back to the body layer and just tidy up the edges and also erase certain parts of the drawing that are going to be covered by hair. I think that might be all of the body layer, and then move up to the eyes, and we're going to erase parts of the eyebrows where the hair is covering it. Just going to fill in this bit here, and I actually am probably going to liquefy the fringe a little bit. And now, because I've erased the eyebrow a bit, I'm going to have to go back in and fill it in. Not too perfectly because it is still partially hidden. And then, right, let's go back to the bottom. So we've done the skin layer, we've done the eyebrows, and we don't need to really do anything with these. I will adjust the mouth a little because I wonder if it should more be like that. And then we're just gonna merge these layers down. And next we're going to erase any parts of the clothing again that are coming through that need to be hidden by the hair. And then once you've done that, you are pretty much done. So we're going to flip the canvas, just double check things. I think I might go in and tweak a few things, but this is essentially how the line work is done. And then at the end of it, what I'll do is I'll add another layer. I end up merging all these line work layers together at the end, but this layer on top, I'll just go around the edges, adjusting my pressure, and I'll just make the edges thicker so that they kind of stand out a bit more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it useful. Please don't forget to subscribe to me. It really helps me to grow.